On April 17th, we have the first new moon of the astrological new year. This new moon is in the sign of Aries, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So, if you were going to start the most potent manifestation hack that there's out there, now is the perfect time. First, let me explain a little bit about moon journaling. So, moon journaling is a framework, it is a method of journaling at the turning points of the lunation of a moon cycle. A moon cycle is about 28 and a half days, and it starts with a new moon. This is when the moon is at its darkest point, meaning there is no light on the moon, and this is a time to plant seeds, set intentions, and think about what you want to call in. And full moons, on the other hand, is when the moon is 100% illuminated. This is a culmination point, a time when things come together, but also a time when the light reveals shadows and what's in the dark. I've been doing journaling for 3.5 years, so I feel like I've learned and know a little bit about this. So in this video, I'm going to go over these 3 things. First, moon journaling, why it's great and what are the benefits. Second, the framework behind moon journaling. And then the third is how to get started. So I started moon journaling in October of 2023. It was a random new moon. It was actually the new moon in Libra. And I was at a time in my life where I felt like this was my second time having started over and recreating a life, but it still wasn't what I wanted it to be. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I was in a career that didn't feel stable. I was in a relationship that didn't feel stable. And yet I felt like I had learned and healed and done all the things, yet still I was in a place that I was unhappy. So as a girl who's so committed to myself, so committed to growth, and also feels like the universe is filled with magic when you take the time and you connect to it, I heard these words, moon journaling, for the first time and knew that I had to begin. I got an empty journal and I started journaling on the nights of new moons and full moons. And doing this over the last 3.5 years, there were so many benefits that I didn't realize at the time of signing up for this thing and starting to do this ritual. The first that I think is really interesting is when you just talk about the manifestation process and you talk about manifesting, I feel like so many people get so excited about manifesting and creating vision boards and writing down all of the things that they want to manifest. But when you think about manifestation, yes, it's calling in your desires, but also there has to be space for that desire to come in. You also have to be an energetic match for that desire. And so when you just do part of it, when you just do the manifestation process, you're kind of skipping over the second part of it that's needed. And what I call that is shadow work. Maybe you've heard of that term. It's looking at your shadows, looking at your triggers, looking at your patterns, and kind of going deep in the subconscious mind and what's beneath the surface there. And it's not just about seeing what's there and understanding that, but it's also then about choosing actions that then create new outcomes. So what I love about doing this with moon journaling is that moon journaling naturally provides you a time to manifest and to do shadow work. That new moon time to set intentions, to plant seeds, those are activities that you do on a new moon. And full moons are the opposite. So they give you that opportunity to shadow work and think about what it is that you need to release in order to make space for your desires to come in. So the fact that it incorporates manifestation and shadow work into one framework, I just absolutely love that. And I feel like it works. The second benefit is over the time of doing this ritual for 3.5 years, I've sort of created a framework, a methodology that not only allows me to write in the things that I want to call in, but helps me keep accountable to them. One thing that I've sort of struggled with in my life is lack of focus and lack of clarity. But having that check in twice a month where I'm looking at my big picture vision and just seeing that, reminding myself of what is my North Star. And then what I like to do is also write down every single moon journal session. I write down what are the commitments that I'm taking? What are the actions that I'm going to take in order to do my part in the 3D world to help bring those manifestations into reality? And because this timeline happens, this check-in happens every 2 weeks, it's amazing because it's a built-in check-in to see how did the last 2 weeks go? What went well? Where did I fall short? And it creates this sort of like built-in accountability system. And that also leads me to my third point. I've tried so many different journaling systems out there. I've tried creating, the perfect morning routine and the perfect evening routine and tried to stick to them. But over time, I felt like I would fall off of it or I would miss a day and that would spiral into like a couple of days. With moon journaling, I never once missed one. And the reason why is because of the frequency. Because this is only on new moons, which happen once a month, and full moons, which happen once a month, it is just twice a month. It makes it so much easier to stay consistent to it. And the way the energies work, if you can't do it on the day of, on the night of, you still have a couple of days of wiggle room. So, as someone who struggled with consistency and not keeping too complicated sort of systems and routines, I found this actually to be pretty easy to keep up with. And I think that was another big benefit, was because I kept up with it, I was able to see results. It's really cool to look back at those entries from 3 years ago and see how far I've come, see the seeds that I planted, see the fears and the struggles that I overcame. And that also builds a sense of confidence. Now, I am a total astrology girl. I love astrology and I love understanding the sort of significance behind everything that's happening in our lives. So moon journaling not only provides an opportunity to sort of do the work within yourself of bringing your dreams to reality, of manifesting shadow work, healing, and growth, and all of these things. But by doing it with the moon, you also align yourself to the energies of the cosmos. Every new moon, every full moon happens in a specific zodiac sign, and that sign provides you a theme, a sort of flavor of that new moon and full moon. So when you take your intentions and you take your reflections and you add in that spice of the theme, you take your practice even further and you start to align yourself with the greater energy that's happening in the air. Now, if you're an astrology lover, then you might also know the house system and know that full moons and new moons happen for us each individually in a different house, so in a different area that's activated. And that's a way to take your moon journaling even more advanced, to see how that house being activated is impacting the seeds that you're planting and what you're letting go. So now let's talk about the framework behind moon journaling. Like I said, new moons are a time to manifest, to plant seeds, to think about what you want to call in. And on new moons, you can do this in two ways. First is looking at the big picture vision, those core goals, those core manifestations that take a lot of time, perhaps a year, perhaps 2 years, to really form and come into reality. Then there's also the seeds that you're planting that are related to the theme and to the house that it's happening in for you. This allows you to think about the theme and think about what actions, what mindsets, what habits that you might want to start incorporating in your life. And again, by doing this ritual every 2 weeks, you have the commitment and built in accountability to make sure that you are also doing your part in the 3D world to help bringing your manifestations into reality, because it is not enough just to write it. New moons happen in the zodiac season that we're in. So because we're in Aries season, this new moon that's happening is in the sign of Aries. So the theme of Aries become relevant for all of us. That is what I like to call a collective theme. Aries themes are taking action, initiating, it's being bold, it's being independent, it's stepping into leadership, and it's about going first. Because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, it has this go sort of energy to it. And this brings me into the second part, full moons. So full moons always happen in the opposite sign of the zodiac season that we're in. So we actually just had a full moon in Libra 2 weeks ago, because Libra is the opposite sign of Aries. And so the themes are always really interesting as well. Whatever the themes of Aries is, Libra will expose the exact opposite. I wrote this post on Instagram and it explained the themes really well. So I'm just going to read that to you real quick. We're in Aries season. This is the energy of independence, boldness, self-focus, urgency, impulsiveness, and ambition. The full moon in Libra exposes the opposite: interdependence, diplomacy, partnership, patience, deliberation, and balance. So again, that full moon energy is exposing the opposite. It's there shining a light and exposing the shadows, what lives in the dark. That's why this makes it a really good time to do shadow work, to release, to forgive, to let go, because all of these activities help create space and allows your manifestations to come in. And again, advanced astrology lovers can take this even one step further by looking at the house that's activated for them. And when they're doing your reflections, you can take a look at what house is being activated and use that to see what else comes up for you. So here's how to get started. The first thing is you always want to start on a new moon. April 17th is literally the first new moon of this astrological year, so it is the perfect time to start this ritual. But like I said at the beginning, I started on a new moon in Libra, so you can start at literally any time. Just look up the next new moon that is happening, or you can also look at the blog linked in my bio that has all of the new moon and full moon dates for 2026. I've been doing this ritual for literally 3.5 years and absolutely love it. I loved it so much. I would tell everyone and their mom about it. I had a Substack for a year where I would do these new moon and full moon breakdowns. I would go on live every new moon and full moon and do oracle readings for others, and I would host events and circles in my home right here as well. I honestly am so passionate about this. I tried to look for a moon journal everywhere for so many years. I not only looked online and through social media, but I would look every time I'd walk through or pass by a psychic shop or metaphysical store. I'd pop in to see if there was any sort of journal that had this framework, and literally none existed. Over the years, I had this idea, like, what if I just made it myself? But I always felt like, nah, that's somebody else's job. Someone else much more equipped and qualified should do it. It was last year at this home where I was having one of my first circles here on a new moon, and I was sharing some of the rituals, and the girls absolutely loved it. When I realized that maybe I am the best person equipped to turn this framework into a journal that other people can also partake in as well. So over the last year, I went through a journey of creating a journal called the Moon Journal that's available now and that embodies this framework so that you can easily just fill it out and not only romanticize the nights of new moons and full moons, but have this as a sacred time of healing, of growth, of committing to yourself, connecting to yourself, and bringing your manifestations and desires into reality. I'm so excited to share this journal with you. You can find it at themoonjournal.com. It's also linked below. I literally only ordered 500 of these journals, and I don't know if I'm going to order any more. So if you are interested, I would definitely look at ordering one now. Now let's get into the framework. For your first entry, you really want to think about what you want to call in. And these are the big picture visions, the sort of seeds that you are going to water every single new moon. I would really sit down and do a meditation and really think about, what does your dream life look like 2 years from now? And when you see that picture, determine 3 different things. I call them core manifestations. And these manifestations are sort of the guiding light, the sort of North Star of what you want to create. And by creating these 3 things, by focusing on these 3 things, you know that all of your other desires can come as a result of the ripple effect. This helps you stay focused, this helps you stay clear, and this helps bring all of your energy towards a clear vision. So you have your 3 core manifestations. So every new moon, you want to start off by writing the lunation. So you would write new moon in Aries, and then you also want to write the date, so it'd be April 17th, 2026, and then you would write the themes. So this new moon in Aries would have Aries themes, and Aries would bring in the themes of leadership, action, initiation. And for my advanced astrology lovers, you could also write down the house themes that are relevant for you. Then I like to start off with just a little reflection. Write down all the things that are coming up right now. What am I dealing with? What am I learning? What's going on in my life? Sort of do just a little check-in. Once I've written all that out, at this point, I also like to pull a card just to see what my guides have to say. And you can do this with any sort of oracle deck. If you love tarot, you can use tarot as well. And if you don't have an oracle deck or a tarot deck and you still want to get an oracle reading, then you can always go to my Instagram at I am guided within, and I always have oracle readings for you on new moons and full moons there. If you're also wondering about where I can get the themes, you can also find that on my Instagram. Once you have all of that written out, I like to write all of that on sort of the left side of the journal. Then on the right side of the journal, every single new moon, you want to write those core manifestations. Every new moon, those core manifestations don't change, don't falter. they stay there. Those are the seeds that you're planting every single new moon. After you write down the first one, you want to take a moment to close your eyes and really visualize and feel it come true in your body. Once you feel that moment, then you can write down the second and repeat with the second and the third. Then what I also like to do is write down my why. Why does this matter? Why do I care? Why is this so important for me to create? By connecting with your why, by connecting with what is the reason that's driving you in those moments of self doubt, in those moments of when you're questioning yourself, in those moments that it feels very, very hard and the obstacles feel really big, your why will remind you why you're doing this. And it's very important to connect to that reason because it helps create that internal motivation, that internal drive. You have to remember, why does it actually matter to you? Once you've written that down, then I like to go into the new moon manifestations. Those are the manifestations, what you want to call in. I feel like this is sort of the fun part. You're taking in the themes of this new moon for everyone using that zodiac sign. And again, you can bring in that house if you would like to think about, what do you want to call in for yourself? And this could be the energies, the wishes that you have, the outcomes, the goals, whatever it is for you. And once you've written all that out, then it's time to get into the commitments. What are you going to do? What are you committing to for the next 2 weeks to help bring this into reality? Maybe it's a daily habit like walking in the mornings or meditating at night. Maybe it's an action. You have to send out 5 cold pitch emails. Whatever it is, these are the things that you are committing to. Then I like to close off my journaling session with a supportive belief. This is an I am statement. Using everything that you're calling in, summarize it in sort of one I am affirmation statement and write that down there at the bottom. I like to then take a post-it and write it down on the post-it as well and put that post-it on my mirror in my bathroom and let that be there for the next 2 weeks until the next lunation and a new post-it is then replaced. That's sort of my daily reminder outside of the journals so that I have a visual reminder of what it is that I wrote down, what it is that I committed to, what it is that I'm creating. My other little hack too is to ensure that everything that you wrote in your commitment section is something that you do, whatever system that you use to plan, whether it's a physical planner or your Google Calendar. Make sure that you put your commitments in there. Make sure that you take it out of your journal and you put it out into the physical world so that you can stay accountable to those things. Now, for full moons, the whole left section of the full moon is going to be very similar. So again, you have the lunation that's happening, full moon in blank, the date, and the themes. Then you write your little reflection of what's going on and what's coming up, and then you can pull an oracle card. So now let's go on to the right side of the page. Now, using the themes, whether it's the zodiac theme or it's the zodiac theme and the house that is relevant, again, for those advanced astrology lovers, you want to write down what it is that you are releasing. Maybe it's actions, maybe it's a habit, maybe it's an energy, maybe it's people, maybe it's a self-sabotaging pattern. What I've noticed is by sitting there and using the themes and thinking through those and reflecting on the theme and the house, things that I would have not otherwise noticed really come up. And this is where the healing and the goodness and the gold comes out, because by using the themes, you sort of reflect on different areas of your life. And I really feel like over the years, that's where I've seen a lot of the benefit, personal benefit that's come to me from. This will take up most of your page, and there at the bottom, you want to close off with the 2 things that we always close off with, and that's 1, commitments. So again, you have your North Star, you know what your core manifestations are, you know what you're releasing, what are the commitments that you are going to commit to for the next 2 weeks. So always write down your commitments and then closing off with that supportive belief. Again, it's an I am statement, and you want to write it on a post-it so that you can take that post-it and stick it up on your mirror and remove that old one. And that's how you can very easily start your own moon journal. April 17th is the first new moon of 2026. So if you want to begin this ritual, now is the perfect time. Again, I turned this framework into an actual journal that you can easily fill out. And if that's something that you want to get, I only ordered 500. So I would go to themoonjournal.com and order yours now. Once you order yours, I'll send you a PDF version of the new moon entry so that while you're waiting for your journal to come in, you know exactly what it's going to look like and you can start to fill that out. And that way, when you get your journal, it's really easy to just pop that in there and begin your journey on the moon journal. My name is Mahak. I am the creator of Guided Within. My mission is to offer tools that help awaken the creator within you. If you love this video, please subscribe down below. And here you can expect new moon breakdowns, full moon breakdowns, and everything that you want to know about moon journaling. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.